Hey everyone, this is Daniel.
And I'm Jun.
And we are
Korean.
American.
No one did that dance ever. I love it. Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
Hey Daniel.
Hey Jun.
We're matching clothes again.
Again.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Unintended. I think people always assume that we message each other.
Yeah.
And then try to match clothes, but we never do that.
I have a fun story.
What is it?
So maybe for many years I did this thing. As soon as I even found that couple outfits were a thing in Korea, whenever my wife dressed up, she would always get dressed first. I would match.
Ooh.
And then she would always be like, oh my gosh, we're matching, right? And I didn't tell her until recently, a few weeks ago. I was like, you do know I do it on purpose, right? I see what you're wearing and match. And her face was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious? So this whole time she thought it was a coincidence.
You did that?
Yeah.
That's so
for many
endearing.
years.
Are you doing it for me?
How would I know what you're wearing, Jun?
I don't know if there's some hidden camera here.
Yeah. But yeah, Jun, we have another guest. Again, in line with our 2025 goals of bringing more guests and outside perspectives onto the show. We have another guest today. Nelson, thank you for joining us.
It's a huge honor.
Huge honor.
Yeah.
As you'll find out later. But Nelson, with all our guests, you are no exception. We asked them to join in on our intro. When we say, Jun as the Korean says Korean, me as the American says American. But I noticed you did not join in on either. So you do not consider yourself neither Korean nor American. That's very interesting to me. Can you talk about that just a little bit? Why did you not join in on our intro?
Yeah, I think I'm neither, but at the same time both. I consider myself 100% TCK, third culture kid. And so, yeah, I wasn't sure where to join in on.
No, I like that. Yeah. Cool. I think everyone is
on a spectrum.
That's a constant point of discussion.
Yeah.
And some of our most popular content is discussing identity, right?
Yeah,
Are you Korean? Are you American? Are you somewhere in between? Are you both? Are you neither?
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that perspective.
Cool. I have so many questions that I want to ask.
Okay. Let's just start with our typical intros, though. Nelson, would you mind introducing yourself for our audience and specifically highlighting kind of what cultural things have made you who you are today?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Nelson. Just my story, maybe.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Brazil. Went to the States for college and came to Korea about 6 years ago. I grew up as a foreigner in Brazil. And I think being an outcast my whole life, I thought of it as a curse. But somewhere in my high school year, I realized that could be not belonging anywhere, could actually be a blessing to bring people together.
Oh, really?
It's a bridge. So I kind of took that upon myself as a mission, as an identity, to be like a bridge. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't consider myself Korean or American. Actually, there's no American in me because I was born and raised in Brazil. But
you did go to college there.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Some cultural influence during your college years.
So I think that's part of what shaped me. Yeah, my cultural background. Does that answer your question?
There's no right or wrong answer, just so you know.
Wow, that's super fascinating. So, did you go to international school in Brazil?
So I went to a Brazilian school up until middle school, and then for high school I went to an international school.
Oh,
yeah.
What can you give me some more information of why you were born in Brazil? Why were your parents in Brazil?
Yeah. So my dad studied Spanish in school, and the company he was working for at the time in Brazil had a branch in Brazil. So I was like, oh, you should go. So they sent him there. Except we don't speak Spanish in Brazil. We speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't know. But it was similar enough, I guess.
Yeah.
So my dad went there. He really liked the country, so he quit his job and started his own business.
Oh, cool.
I have a question. I have a lot of questions, so I'll just go for it. I remember I was at a work dinner. It was actually a Brazilian all-you-can-eat, meat barbecue place.
Churrascaria.
Yeah. And I was with a Brazilian coworker, Rodrigo, if you're ever listening, doubt you are, but this is your story. He was like, D-Kim, you could really fit in as a Korean in Brazil. And to this day, I don't know if that was a compliment. I don't know what he meant by that. Because I asked him, what's that mean? He was like, just I feel like you would fit in as a Korean in Brazil because we have some Koreans there.
Yeah.
That was it. To this day, I don't know A, what he meant by that.
Yeah.
B, was it a compliment? Was it negative? So I just want your perspective on that. If someone tells you like, hey, you know, you're Korean American, but I feel like you would have fit in, and like I would not have known you were Korean American. You could have been a Korean Brazilian to me.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The way I would interpret it
Yeah.
is that you're friendly, you're like welcoming. There's like a Brazilian vibe where like strangers are just friends that are yet to be met kind of thing, you know?
Oh, wait, say that again. They're
Yeah.
just strangers who haven't met yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
And I think you give off that vibe very friendly, like, oh, you know, everyone's welcome kind
Okay,
of vibe.
okay.
I think that's what he was getting at.
Really?
But maybe he was just getting at how much you eat. I don't know. that could be
I do eat a
thing
lot.
too.
Yeah.
So there
Okay.
are a lot of Koreans in Brazil, right?
Yeah,
I've
there's
heard that there are a lot of like Japanese also.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think
really?
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
for Japanese, the biggest population outside of Japan is in Brazil.
No.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Not America?
And they have a lot of real estate in Brazil.
Really?
This might be a rumor, because like I heard that Japan's like in a government level, they're preparing for like when their island sinks.
Oh,
And they
Brazil's
have like
the way to
they
go.
have like a lot of land in Brazil.
Ah.
Is
Oh,
that
wow.
true?
They do have a lot of land in Brazil. I don't know about the Japanese government's plan, but I could be true. Yeah.
Wait, so like American tech billionaires who are buying bunkers in New Zealand, you're saying Brazil is the bunker that
That's what I heard.
rich Japanese people were buying land in?
No, not in an individual level, on a government
national
level.
level.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Japanese government bought up
Yeah.
land.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. That's crazy.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I heard. Might not be true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense though.
How'd you learn how to speak English then?
International school. In high school.
After middle school, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, there were some English classes here and there, you know, Brazil, like Korea.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it was in high school that I really.
Oh,
learned, and
I would have
college.
I would have never guessed. I would have guessed that you come from the States.
Me too. You
Yeah.
give off strong like Gilpo energy to me. That's why I feel like we get along so well.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Appreciate
should
it.
talk about that. How we met.
Oh yeah, sure. How did we meet?
I mean,
Oh, I was commenting on
yeah.
YouTube.
Okay.
and,
So
yeah.
okay. Before that, we keep mentioning him. He was our mutual friend before we started the podcast. But Superfan AM was like, hey, like you guys should check out this guy's Instagram content.
Oh.
I feel like you
Oh.
guys would really get along.
Oh, I forgot.
You forgot.
Yeah, that's how
AM,
it started.
AM messaged us, and then.
Then I already knew.
Huh? Oh, you already knew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait. So what was your first? Oh,
So, wait, are we gonna review?
yeah, we should. Maybe it's too hard to remember.
I didn't know there was a backstory to this. Okay, my take was I was watching your podcast. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I started commenting.
Yeah.
And then I think I reached out to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, let's grab lunch. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so honored. And then we grabbed
Yeah, yeah.
lunch.
That's
No,
true.
but
That,
there was
that
a
should be
backstory.
your story.
Okay.
Our other story is that our mutual friend referred you. Like he sent your content in our DM. I
To
think.
us, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, cool. And I already knew you because you were like constantly popping up on my feed. It's like, oh, this guy. I know. It's awesome. It's like, oh, I already know this guy. This guy's cool. But like, I never thought that this could be a thing. I just like reached out to this person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because like, I felt like he's kind of like semi-celebrity. That's how I felt.
I don't know. I think maybe it's my Americanness, but in America, honestly, if you meet like a Korean American that's roughly the same age, I feel so much. I'm not going to use the word affection in a sense. It's like camaraderie.
What are you going to say, Chong?
Yeah. But I'm just like, we get each other, right? We have so much in common just with those two things. Being a Korean American in a roughly the same generation in the US. So, even though now I know you didn't spend too much time in the US, I still feel like, we would just get along. And so it's why wouldn't you try to connect and be friends in Korea?
Sure.
At least that's my mentality.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting. But yeah, so we met up and then we got lunch. And honestly, for me, I was like, oh, wow, like we're really similar
Yeah.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
And so, I'm glad that random Instagram connection ended up resulting in this friendship. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Can I talk a little bit more about Brazil?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of Korean people might resonate with this. There are two, well, at least in my generation, there are two ways that we got Brazilian influence without even knowing.
Ooh.
Can you guess?
Brazilian influence.
Yeah.
Oh, man. My guess would be soccer.
That
Or-
that too.
And
That
then-
too. Yes.
The first thing that comes to my mind is like there's an orange juice ad in the 90s.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking
Yes.
about? Do you know about this? So there's
Oh
an
my
orange
God.
juice that
Wait,
used
what?
the Brazilian expression tabong
Yeah.
as like, I guess they imported the oranges from Brazil.
Uh-huh.
Brazil's a big exporter of orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're like tabong in their ads. And
Yeah.
that became like an expression
Yeah.
that was like used in everyday.
It became such a common thing that
Okay.
most people didn't even know that it was a Brazilian word. They just thought it was a Korean word, like
So-
tabong.
Is that the word for what? That's the word for orange in Brazil.
No, tabong means
Portuguese?
like it's good.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
good.
it's
Okay,
good.
okay. It just became a common expression.
Yeah.
I think to this day, if you say tabong to
Yeah.
Koreans, they understand.
Yeah, they all understand.
Generation, because this is the first time I've ever heard of this.
Well, Koreans.
Well,
Because
my parents in the 70s would never have heard of this.
your parents would know.
Okay.
They would.
Yeah.
They would know.
They would,
100%, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try this later.
But it's like now it became like an old person thing.
Sure,
Like young
yeah.
people don't say
It's
tabong,
old
but
slang.
they would still understand what it is.
Okay. I'm gonna ask my parents. I'm skeptical.
There's a Brazilian restaurant called tabong
Yeah.
in Itaewon. Have you been?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the
What's the
second
second one?
Yeah.
The second one, well, this might be more personal, but it could be a generational thing. There was this sensational
Dance?
game,
Oh, no. Okay, no go.
video game in Korea and in the world, I guess, in general, called Street Fighter 2.
Oh,
And there's a character from Brazil.
the green guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Blanca.
Blanca.
Blanca's Brazilian.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I didn't know that.
The reason why you know is that every time you pick a character,
Yeah.
it like there's a map behind,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it flies to that destination, and it shows like Brazilian flag, and like the fighting scene, the background is somehow I don't know if it's
a
like
jungle.
accurate or not, but it depicts the streets of Brazil or something.
Oh, was it the streets?
Streets were like a jungle or
Okay,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like our, at least my first
Yeah,
impression
yeah.
of, oh, that was, there's a country called Brazil,
Oh.
and they're like green monsters. And it's like very jungle-y
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Bringing the world together.
Yeah, that's how I knew. You played Street Fighter too, right?
At my previous workplace, people got really into Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It's when I found out there was a like Street Fighter tournament in Vegas every year, and that actually Koreans are quite good at Street Fighter too. So some of them are world class. But
Yeah.
no, I never got into it. I'm really bad at those games. I couldn't play those console games growing up, June. My parents were kind of strict.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up sore memories. I'm serious. This is trauma. Even to this day, when people are like, "Oh, do you want to play Super Smash Brothers?" Like my son had his friend over yesterday
Yeah.
night, and they were playing Smash. They're like, "Dad, play with us. Come on." I'm like, I'm still traumatized because I'm so bad at these games. I don't even want to play. I don't even know what's going on.
What's the worst thing that can happen? You just lose.
It's not that. It's just the trauma. It brings up these memories of feeling like, oh, everyone else plays this. I can't play. I'm not good. I don't know. I can't I'm so bad.
Oh wow.
It's really traumatic. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to bring that up.
So you grew up in Brazil, and then you went to international school in Brazil of
Yeah.
your later years of high school, I guess.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
high school, and then you decided to go study in the States.
Yeah.
For starting from college.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's the story behind that?
I think it was just like a natural way to go after high school.
Oh, is that a natural way to go for?
I think
Brazilians?
international schools usually people.
Oh,
go to
you're
the
international
States.
school.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
I don't know how exactly what international schools like how it works.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it sounds right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So in the international school, I think that was very formative of like my identity. I don't know if it's common. I think it's pretty common across all international schools, but we had really strong cliques, right? So there were these like really rich Brazilian kids, like filthy rich kids. There were like the Korean kids whose parents were sent over by Samsung, LG.
Yeah.
And then there were all the gringos, like all the kids of diplomats, right?
Yeah.
And throughout my high school, they had a very clear clique where they wouldn't like interact with each other.
Oh,
interesting.
And the problem for me was that I didn't belong to any of them, right? Because I wasn't, I mean, technically I was Brazilian, but I wasn't like the really, really rich kids. I was Korean, but not like the international Koreans. And then I kind of belonged to gringos, but not really gringos either, right? So my whole life, I felt like an outcast. But senior year of high school, everyone kind of got together. We had a class of 77 people. It was like a small class. and we somehow bonded over the identity of being like seniors, right? And in that, I think I got to play a like kind of a bridge role because I didn't belong anywhere. I could kind of belong everywhere, and that's where I like it. I think it was the first realization that like this is actually a good thing, not belonging anywhere, because then I could help everyone kind of mingle.
Yeah.
That part's so fascinating to me because we'll probably get into this deeper later, but like it's like a common scenario that people somehow like get into in their lives at some point, but like it's so easy to fall into like a very negative space where like I don't belong anywhere and then become like, you know, an outcast forever. But like it was so fascinating that you like turned it around into a positive thing and wait, I should like act as a bridge. That part's so fascinating.
Nelson, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Again, because I feel like I don't want to just go into it, but I was going to say racism maybe looks and feels different in every part of the world.
Yeah.
And so, you know, before we had a, you know, Korean who grew up in Russia, we asked her about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've shared my experiences growing up Asian in the US.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what that felt and looked like for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like how are Asians in general treated in Brazil?
Yeah.
Were Koreans even their own, you know, separate identity from Chinese or Japanese or whatever? So
Yeah. So I can only speak to my experience.
Of course.
And my experience was Brazil pre-BTS era, right? And I think that makes a big difference. Right now, if there are people listening from Brazil, they might be like, no, that's not how Brazil is right now. But you have to understand, I grew up there in the 90s, right? 90s and 2000s. In hindsight, it was very racist. But I only realized that it was racist after I came to the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So was it overt?
I mean,
Were they calling you names?
It was overt,
Were they
but
doing eye signs?
Yeah.
Like, they were. Okay.
They didn't know Korea, so it was like, oh, Japa. Like they would call you Japanese, and you know, ching ching chang, you know the usual.
Yeah.
But it was so normalized that I didn't think it was.
I
you know
see.
what I mean? It was like, everyday life, you know, ching ching chang. Okay, like, and it was only after I came to the States that you know I learned the words for it. I'm like, oh, that was racism. That was messed up. But yeah, it was so normalized that I don't think I made a big deal out of it. But I remember distinctively having some bad moments. Like the ching chang chong everyday stuff is like whatever. Like I was used to it. But there was one moment when me and my Korean Brazilian friends, I think it was during a World Cup. It was a Brazil versus Japan. We went to a bar, like we were gonna like watch the game. We were all wearing our Brazil jerseys, right?
Oh, you were dressed in the home colors too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But we got like kicked out. They were like, "Oh, you know, Japanese, like, get out of here." I'm like, "Bro, like, I'm here cheering for my country."
Brazil. Yeah.
And I think that was a moment that like did leave a bitter taste in my mouth, and I'm like, where do I belong then, you know? But other than that, it was fine.
I think your story is very interesting to me because I want to bring something up. I might be wrong about in this because it's related to racism and Korean people don't usually go through racism. And it was very interesting and something kind of resonated with me a little bit. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Or like, I think this is just my perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like American people are too sensitive about racism and very easy to classify certain things into racism when it's just sometimes just not intended that way or just pure ignorance. Like, for instance, you were totally fine before, and then you got to know that it's messed up, which is just negative. Maybe it's just better if you just didn't know that it was like, racism. Or maybe it wasn't even racist to begin with. Like, for instance, if people, like, when people go to a foreign country and they don't meet a lot of Asian people to begin with, I think it's just natural to say ni hao.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not meant to be to attack the other person. It's just like most people that you see that has like this kind of facial characteristics are Chinese, so they say ni hao as like a very welcoming gesture. And now I see like all these YouTube videos saying, oh, that person's racist, I'm so offended. But like, what if they didn't even know it was a thing? Then they would just say like hi back or like just like friend in just like in a very friendly manner can say, oh, I'm not Chinese, I'm Korean.
Yeah.
But now it becomes a very like offensive thing all of a sudden.
Yeah. Wow, I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
When I came to Wisconsin, I think I found it's like mostly white, you know, middle of nowhere kind of thing. I think I found a lot of well-intended, well-meaning,
Yeah.
but ignorant and, like honestly not exposed to first time seeing like foreigners kind of thing people. And I see where you're coming from. I understand it. I think it is kind of bad when, okay, on one hand, I think that ignorance by itself doesn't excuse them from being racist, just because they don't know it, like, I think they can still be racist.
Yeah.
But I do see a point where like, oh man, it's like pure ignorance, right?
Yeah.
I do separate them. I think if people are like intentionally racist, I do think that's worse.
Yeah.
But I don't give them a full excuse. Okay, you didn't know better. I wasn't hurt. You know? Like those are, I mean, you cannot know better, but it still hurt me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think, D Kim?
There's so many thoughts on this.
Yeah. But man, I see your point.
I just want to add one more thing. I see like these content on social media where they do like these chat roulette things, and you see an Asian guy and the other person says like, oh, BTS. And then it just looks like a very honest and maybe even a complimentary thing. And they're like, oh, Kanye West or whatever, trying to like kind of, but I think the first, when they say BTS, it's not offensive, but when you like intentionally say Kanye West to that other person,
you meant it.
You meant it. So,
but I think they're trying to get at a point. I mean, I'm not protecting that person, and I do think that, but it's like, and I think there's a history behind it, right? And I think that's important, like how much you live through that, and to the point where like even a little thing like that can like trigger them to, hey, try feeling it that way. I think them saying Kanye West is like trying to like, oh, like get a taste of like what it feels like. This is the closest thing to what you feel, what you feel of being like stereotyped. But I understand. I think it's tricky. Yeah. Are you tearing up?
I mean, this is a very sensitive and meaningful topic. I don't know how deep we want to go here. I'll just say, there's a common saying even in the workplace, like don't
attribute to malice
what it could be incompetence or ignorance. So I definitely think when it's said from a place of ignorance, but not intended to be hurtful or harmful, that doesn't matter, right? At least if you can tell. And you can usually tell, to be honest. Or things like you're bringing up, which is a bit more lighthearted. Like, back then in the 90s, or 2000s, if you were an Asian on a basketball court, every single people would call you Yao Ming, Yao Ming, Yao Ming, right? Like that's just what they did. That was not necessarily meant to be hurtful. It was just kind of like fun, right? But Jun, it's very clear when it's said from a place of, I think, trying to be hurtful and not ignorance, right? And I think even they can feel a sense of protection maybe by, I don't know any better. Like, how should I know? At that point, I think it is maybe the intent is still there to make you feel, hurt, small, make fun of you, etc. And so, I think, if you could always know intent, maybe it would be better. But I mean...
Well, the point that I was trying to make is that, of course, I'm not trying to put one blanket over all the problems and say like, oh, like there must be people who are intentionally trying to hurt you, right? But coming from a very homogenous society like Korea, it's so easy to be ignorant about things. And most of the time, it's not coming off as being racist. Like their intention is not trying to harm you. So like. It goes back to our like 흑백 요리사 thing and the comments of like saying people were kind of offended by the fact that, well, Daniel didn't even say that, but like in the US they don't call it 흑백 요리사. They call it culinary class wars because it's such a sensitive topic to like classify things as black and white. And so I think it's just just for the sake of trying to understand different cultures, right? And a lot of times it's not. You don't even have to be that offended, I guess. But I think the American psyche, sometimes it infiltrates throughout the world. And now Korean people even think that, is that like 인종차별? When before they didn't even have to think of that as a offensive way.
But I do want to push back a little. I mean, I agree with this, and I know what you're saying. But like, even let's go back to a restaurant, right? Our bar. They probably did it out of ignorance, you know. They didn't have any malice. They just thought we were Japanese, right? But you see how like that could be hurtful, even though it was out of ignorance. And maybe I could have been more mature and be like, oh, they don't know better. They probably just thought I was Japanese, you know. or but I don't know. I'm like, oh, when I think history matters a lot, right?
Yeah.
When you like repeatedly go through that and like, man, I just want to cheer for my country, but like I think even out of ignorance, it's like it's triggering, like, oh, like how could you kind of thing. But no, but I see you. I'm against cancel culture. I feel like more conversations need to be like made. But
I'm trying to think what I want to share, if anything, on this. Yeah, because I mean, America was founded on very racist, beginnings and a foundation, right? And so maybe there's no world in which race doesn't play a factor in America, at least. And what started off as African and European has now become, of course it's a melting pot, right? And first maybe it was the Irish, and even though they were white, they got crazy racism against them. And then it was Japanese, Chinese, and then later Koreans immigrated, and of course they were treated racistly as well. So yeah, we've talked about the systemic racism before. I don't want to get into that, but at least on a personal level, pretty much my whole life I felt like I was picked on, made fun of, targeted, even physically intimidated, all these things, right? And not only that, right, when you also think about college admittance processes or like advancing in the workplace, it's hard not to point to your race playing a factor, because I think it does. There's so much even unconscious bias that goes into everything. So at least for me, I think you're right. I think Americans are more sensitive to it, but it's because we're more aware of it, and you can't avoid it. It's literally impossible. At least, and you can't say like, oh, just pretend like good intent. Why don't you not be triggered by it? One thing that psychologists will always say is like emotions are always valid, no matter what you're feeling, whether it was intended to feel that way, whether it's true or not. Like your feelings are valid, right? And when you feel like you're belittled, when you feel like you're being made fun of, when you feel like you're at a disadvantage, when you feel like someone is like imposing some sort of judgment on you just for how you look, you can't get away from that feeling. It's one of the worst feelings you can ever experience, in my opinion. Especially when you feel like you're a bit powerless to fight against it, when it's so deeply ingrained in the culture, in the systems, whatever. Whether it's anyway, I'll stop rambling. But
to be clear, I wasn't trying to make justify
totally
this in a personal level. I'm just trying to say that there are different contexts, like cultural contexts,
for sure.
Because you mentioned history as well. Because every country is in a different context, either culturally or historically. So there are different things that, I mean, the repercussions are different, and intentions might be different. So and your story sort of triggered that thought that I had, and I think a lot of Korean people share this thought as well. Like I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Korean people that think that American people are too sensitive, but like by just listening to Daniel's story now, Korean people might understand why it is. But like at the same time, when maybe the US is trying to force their cultural values too much into Korea when it's not intended that way. So I think it's a tricky subject.
No, I see that.
Cool. Okay. Move on. From Brazil. I mean, oh wait, so you guys speak Portuguese, right? How different this is coming from like pure ignorance. How different is Portuguese from Spanish? Can you guys communicate with each other?
So usually Portuguese speakers can understand Spanish, but Spanish speakers can't understand Portuguese. So we can communicate.
You're superior. How does that work?
I mean, it's kind of like Jeju-do Saturi can understand Seoul Saturi, but Seoul
that's a very
Saturi can't
good
understand Jeju-do, right?
Like, have you ever heard Irish, like heavy Irish accent English?
I have.
You cannot understand it.
I was very curious about this. Can American people understand?
No.
Oh, they can't?
No chance, yeah.
Oh, I feel better now.
There was one movie, I think it was Once. I remember I couldn't understand the first 30 minutes of it, and then it adjusted. Then you finally can start to understand. But it takes a while. It's really hard to pick up at first,
But written, it's pretty similar, I think.
Nelson, again, this is ignorance, not malice. I remember this moment when I met an Argentinian Korean, and then I went to one event, and there was like a group of Argentinian Koreans, and I was like, oh, this is a thing. There's like, again, growing up ignorant American, I didn't realize there was a decent Korean population in Argentina. Do you feel affinity for other, let's say, like South American gyopos? And do you all get along at all, or is it just like no, you're like very different?
No, I feel like Korean diaspora in general, right? Just like Korean Brazilian, Korean American, I think there is a common experience between Koreans who've lived as a minority somewhere else. And in that way, I feel affinity, but not particularly because it's like Latin America. And I don't know if you know, but Brazil like isn't a weird like when people call like Latinos, like Brazil's kind of not included there, right?
Oh, really?
It's like Brazil and the rest of South America.
I didn't realize that.
Maybe because we are not Spanish speaking. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
and also Brazil and Argentina have a rivalry.
Okay.
So if you're talking about Argentinians in particular, but Korean Brazilians, Korean Argentinians get along. But
Okay.
Brazilians, Argentina,
Oh, that's so fascinating. So Brazil is the only country in South America that speaks Portuguese, and the rest speak Spanish.
don't call me on that. But I think so. Yeah, I think there might be some exceptions up there, like maybe French or whatever. But mostly, yeah, Brazil is the only country that speaks Portuguese. I don't know if everyone else speaks Spanish, but I'm pretty sure Brazil is the only country. But you should Google that.
That would make sense. I think again, language plays such a huge part in I think cultural understanding and affinity. Okay, I remember the question I wanted to ask.
Well, that wasn't the okay.
No, that was not. I just have so many questions.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say some of BTS's biggest fans, maybe K-pop in general, are from South America.
Yeah.
Also, like Spanish-speaking countries like Mexico. Do you have any perspective on why they are so fervently passionate about K-pop, BTS, etc.?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have no idea.
But you agree with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, in a weird way, I feel like Latin American or like South American culture is similar to Asian culture, like more so than like Western culture.
Yeah, in what ways?
Like focus on community. I don't know. There's something about it. Like almost like the Chong. There's like a Latin version of Chong as well. I feel like it's more.
I keep saying it's a universal thing.
I mean, it might be, but I feel like okay, this might come off too like 2D, two-dimensional, but I see Western culture as more like an objective, like by the law, by the letter kind of culture, right? Like I might sue you. I had a friend who took his brother to a neighbor's like tree house.
Yeah.
House tree? What is it called?
Tree house. Yeah.
And he came back with like a paper saying like, you can't sue me. If
Oh my
they get
gosh.
hurt, you know? I feel like that's like American culture. For me, that's American culture. Like, yeah, like it's all business.
Yeah,
like it's all like very objective. Which like pros and cons, right?
I
But
guarantee you that person was very rich.
Yeah. But Brazil and Korean culture is more like, oh, like, you know, there's like leeway, you know, more Chong, like more like, oh, that's my stereotypes of like, and in that way, I think Brazil and Korea are kind of similar.
Okay,
It's like,
okay.
yeah, whatever, like, that's on me. There's honor and there's, you know.
Cool. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. So you briefly mentioned that you went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Well, like how did that happen?
I mean, I was interested in film. I took a film class in high school, and I was like, oh, film's great, communication, and can I go on a site?
Yeah, please. Yeah. It's all about you.
The reason I got into film and communications, my mom used to, so there are a lot of Korean Chinese in Brazil as well. You know, like 조선족, right? Right? And what they do is they, you know, for better economic future, the whole village would gather money together and send like a representative to Brazil, and they would make money and like send the money back, right? And so they were like, you know, socioeconomically like poor people. And my mom, by chance, I think she ended up making a lot of those friends. And because I think she grew a heart for them, and you know, she was part of a church, and so she invited them to church and like helped them out with their business stuff. And the church didn't like it as a Korean church, and you know, Koreans have a thing against Joseon. I think they had a kind of a beef. But I have a lot of memories in Brazil growing up about like these interactions with my mom, and I think that was very formative in who like part of like that being a bridge. I think came from my mom as well. And one of the most memorable moments was like, I think during Christmas, she had all these like Korean Chinese people over, her friends, and she was showing a video, right? And this was before iPhone, right? Before like Skype. And so they didn't have like a way to like contact. It was like, you know, those paid calls. Like international calls.
Yeah.
And what she had done was like she had secretly visited their family. You know those like those programs in China, and made like a 영상 편지, right? And I think that was like a very, that was like a turning point for me. Like, like film can be used to bridge people. Like that's communication.
That's so cool.
And just seeing like everyone cry and seeing their family was like, I think what made me want to do film.
That's so powerful. Oh my gosh.
And like just random memories I have of, I would wake up and then have like people sleeping on the floor of my house. And oh man, like to this day, I remember our fridge would always be filled with dumplings because a lot of them sold dumplings. And so there was a month, no joke, we'd have like mandu cook for morning, mandu, tigim, mandu, like everything mandu. Like we'd hate mandu, right? Yeah. But my mom would be like, oh, like we're out of mandu. She'd keep buying. And then like literally we'd open the fridge, and then mandus would like start falling. But yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why I went to that, but film.
No,
so that's why
powerful.
I started. I wanted to study film, and Wisconsin was one of the schools I got into, and it's the cheaper one.
Wait, sorry, where is Wisconsin?
No, exactly. That's my first thought when I got in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, where was Wisconsin? Yeah, it's
North.
middle of nowhere.
It's Midwest, but it's north, very close.
Like Illinois,
Yeah, right next
Minnesota.
to Yep.
Is that where it
like
is?
right in
Yeah.
between. Yeah.
I see. That's where Wisconsin is.
It's that like, wait, is Wisconsin one with two parts? No. It's like the thing that
Yeah, it's
sticks
two
out
parts,
like
yeah.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Oh, cool. So
Bordering Canada.
was that the first? Was that your first exposure to the U.S.?
I mean, I've been there for like Disneyland and yeah.
But it's your first time living there, right?
Yeah.
How was that like? What was very different from? Because
Oh,
of course,
man.
like when you're traveling and when you're living, it's very different.
Yeah. And Wisconsin's something else. Just so you have an idea, I own more Havaianas. Do you guys know Havaianas? It's like the Brazilian
Oh yeah,
flip-flops.
Shoe, yeah.
Oh,
flip-flop.
yeah.
I own more Havaianas than like actual shoes when I lived in Brazil, right? I knew Wisconsin was gonna be cold.
Yeah.
Not that cold.
That's
I
true.
like literally. I think I got on probation. Like I almost got kicked out of school first semester because I missed so many classes. I was like, how do people go to school? Like I walk out like no, hell no. I just turned back. It was so cold. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
literally
cold.
like
It's
super
cold.
cold, super cold. So I think that was my memory of the first semester. Just like really cold.
Yeah. What else was hard to adjust to? I don't know, food. And also before you answer, it's just like, I imagine, like, who did you find your social circle with, right? Because, you have maybe an international American background, but you're coming from South America, but you're ethnically Korean. They're Yuaksings, Korean Americans, whatever. So,
Okay, identity crisis, right? I think college was my peak of identity crisis. I don't know. I went to college thinking, man, I want to like form a new identity for myself. So I try to be cool, go to all the parties and hang out with all the American people. I went through a lot of like trial and error, but I think I ended up finding home in like Asian Americans, which I think it was kind of new for me. Like Asian Americans, I think I felt most at home. Not Korean Americans particular, but Asian Americans as a group.
Yeah.
And I was part of like a Christian fellowship at the time, and I think that's where my home was. Not so much with Koreans, and it was, Korean internationals. I almost like too rich. I couldn't, But yeah, Wisconsin. I always say that it's like a cold place with like warm people.
oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I think the winter like filters out all the rude people. Warm people.
Come on, it's not always winter. That's a seasons too.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
You're making it
You're
seem like
right.
it's cold year round.
but psychologically,
Yeah.
it's like winter and summer.
The winters are really cold though.
Yeah, it's so
They're
cold that it
extreme.
just feels like forever. Like winter just
I see.
You know what's so interesting? It's because America is such a large country with so many climates and so many different environments. For you, the U.S. must be like this very cold, wintry place, right?
Based on Wisconsin.
My first exposure to the U.S. is L.A., right?
yeah.
So every time I think of the States, I think about like palm trees and like the nice weather and stuff. Even after I went to live in Boston, which is a very different place, but when I think of the U.S., my first image is the scenery of L.A. So I think that's, I mean, for a Korean person, it might be a very foreign concept that like in one country there's so many different environments and climates. But
Okay.
that's why.
That's why Maryland's the best, June.
Why? Because it has the
all
four seasons.
seasons. We're so adaptable. We can survive anywhere. We don't complain about the cold or the hot. We got it all.
Isn't that how Korea is though?
Yeah, Korean temperature is very comparable, I'd say.
I see.
That's why you see Koreans all over the world, June. They're adaptable. Just kidding.
What was the coolest thing about living in the States?
Coolest thing?
Yeah.
So I lived in a half basement with 13 other guys.
Oh my god.
And
What?
something interesting.
Can you describe this in more detail? Like how does that work?
So a group of like-minded guys from like the Christian fellowships or like whatever, they were like, oh, we want to be purposeful. We want to create a almost a public space where people could just like drop in and like chill. And that's what we did, right? We got a half. We were like also poor, you know. So we got a half basement that was supposed to be for like 6 people. We crammed it. It was illegal, but like literally one of the beds, we had a bunker bed.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we had to like shuffle in, and the roof was like, the ceiling was like this. No joke. Like I have footage.
How many
I'm not
times
even
did you
joking.
hit your head when you woke up?
I wasn't there. I won the rock paper scissors, so I didn't have to go there. But but it was like the close. I always say it was the closest place to heaven on earth for me. Even though it was like, man, so many stories about that place. The carpet, we had a magic carpet. It was a self-cleaning carpet, and we used to call it self-cleaning because we used to eat Popeyes every Tuesday after basketball. When the crumbs fell, it would mysteriously move by itself. It was all the ants and bugs picking it. And, just to paint a picture of what that, but it was like the happiest place for me. It was like a very open place, very communal. I didn't realize that it was a half basement, the concept of Pangea, until years later when I came to Korea and I watched Parasite. Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, that place was supposed to be like a bad place. I never realized that. Maybe it circles back to what you're saying about like racism, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't, in a weird way, in a different way. Like, I didn't realize that place was bad until I was made aware that, oh, that's Panjiha.
Yeah.
But
That's such a. You know how this is such a Buddhist philosophy.
What is?
There's this very famous Buddhist folklore in Korea that everyone knows. It's called 원효대사 해골물. So,
Plain guys. What?
but it depicts what Buddhist philosophy is. So there was this monk, like I don't know the exact details of the story, but he was like wandering around the mountains and the forests, and he had and it was like for like days and days, and he needed a place, he needed a shelter, and in like a dark night, he found out this cave where he can dwell in. So he went into the cave, and he was like almost about to die, super thirsty. And then he found like this bucket of water, like magic, and he drank it, and it felt like it felt like heaven when he drank it. And then the next day in the morning, he woke up and he realized it was a skull of a human person, and there was water in there, and then he like vomited or whatever. And this depicts the Buddhist philosophy of everything just inside of you, and it's not something external.
So it was the same water, but
It was
all of
the
a
same
sudden
water.
it felt like poison.
yeah.
원효대사 해골물.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Much better than my comments. I was going to be like, yo, did we go to college together? Because all I remember is playing basketball and then eating Popeyes.
Oh, yeah, dude. And one of the best memories, man.
See, Korean American culture, I feel like is all the same wherever you are in America. Buddhist philosophy, Popeyes, and basketball.
Well, that's what make this podcast very good. Different perspectives. Okay, cool. What's kind of interesting whenever I try to get something out of you in regards to like American culture, I imagine something like that abundance of or like American culture or something that you thought was amazing about like whatever we normally see in America, but all of your memories are based around like your very personal memories with your friends.
Wow.
And all that. Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's about the people.
It's all
I
the
guess,
people.
yeah.
So I think it shows what kind of person you are.
Okay.
All right. So after college, what brought you to Korea? And talk about that experience moving to Korea.
So I actually worked in the States for about 3 years after college. Yeah.
In the film industry?
I worked at a marketing documentary company. It was a startup.
Yeah.
I had 2 bosses. That's a whole, oh man, shout out to Megan and Jed if they're watching this. Best bosses, it was the best way to start my career.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah. We travel all over Wisconsin. We had a project called Love Wisconsin, where we, got interviews of different people around Wisconsin. And the idea was to make, this polarized world more understanding and connected.
Even back then. That's awesome. Yeah.
And it wasn't like planned, but that's where I like learned all my like storytelling skills and the power of storytelling. I think it was all then. So I was really happy. So I was living in that Panjiaha with 13 other guys. I had this job I really liked, and I had my church youth group community, which I was really invested in. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna live here forever. But then through a series of circumstances, I felt like a calling to Korea. And a part of the reason was my dad has a condition called Parkinson's, and it was getting like worse and worse. And I was like, oh, maybe I should go to Korea and spend more time with family. So I think that was part of the reason.
At that point, your parents were already in Korea.
Yeah, so while I was in the States, my parents moved to Korea, so my home had kind of moved from Brazil to Korea. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I think I have to go to Korea.
So yeah, Nelson, when you moved to Korea to be with your, I guess, family again, you felt called back to Korea. Was that your first time living there, or had you had any other experience living in Korea before?
Oh yeah, so when I was in college, I took a break to serve in the Korean military.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so because I thought you grew up in Brazil,
Yeah.
but you were always a Korean citizen.
Yeah, the laws I think keep going back and forth. I was confused at the time,
It's
but
so confusing. Yeah.
but from what I had heard, I
Okay.
could have chosen not to go because I was born in Brazil. I have my Brazilian citizenship.
yeah.
But I thought it'd be a good experience, right? Like
Okay.
I had 1 year left in college, and I felt like I had grown up very spoiled. I was like, man, I need need a break. And
all the experience that you experience is very far from being spoiled.
I don't know. I thought it was
Living in a half
very
basement with 13 other dudes. That's not spoiled.
like
Anyways.
unique experience.
Yeah.
I thought, and so I was like, oh, let me give it a try. So
Okay.
I came to Korea. I thought it'd be a good break to like think about life before going out to the real world.
Yeah.
After graduation. So I
Yeah.
was like, why not?
Man, that's wild to me. Right, that you would think that way and then voluntarily go do the military service.
But even for Koreans, it's like people dread going to the military because it's such a culture shock for them.
Yeah.
And disruption, like the middle of college, I feel like that's so tough. I mean, it's good because it gives you a chance to reflect. At the same time, it's like so disruptive, right?
I think the disruption plays out well for certain people. Yeah, I think a lot of Korean men use that as like a
break.
like try to like reset your thoughts and stuff like that. So
kind of like a gap year.
might be a blessing.
And I don't know if this goes over everyone, but I feel like I have a theory about 군대, why people have a very negative perception. And I think a lot of them are valid, but I think a part of the reason people don't like it so much is because it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Like I always compare it to like, when you're playing video games and you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to quit in 30 minutes. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
But then your mom comes in. It's like, Nelson, stop in 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, you don't want to do it. I think that's military. Like if it wasn't mandatory, people would enjoy it. But because they're with the mindset of, oh man, I'm here because I was forced to. I don't want to be here. They don't get to enjoy it as fully.
Totally.
That's my theory, but I don't know.
Everything is within you.
Yeah, back to the skull. Yeah.
Wait, does this fit into that?
Yeah, it's like it's all about how you perceive,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've said on this pod too, expectations are what really kills motivation and like kills gratitude and all that. If there's an expectation of something, then all of a sudden when you do it, it doesn't feel as, fulfilling. The example I'll bring up is, Thanksgivings in the US, there's no necessarily like expectation per se that guests, bring something, help in the kitchen, help clean up, whatever. But everyone volunteers to do it anyway. And ultimately the work gets shared around, etc. And, I just compare that to, let's say, holidays in Korea. The expectation is the women do everything. So even when they're doing it, it feels like, oh, it's like forced upon me. I have no, liberty or freedom. But if it wasn't that expectation, probably everyone would help out in the same way. And it'd be more joyful. It'd be kind of, done with gratitude. And, it's just the expectation is what kills it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I think one of my life mottos, too, is the key to happiness is just having no expectations. I don't say low, but just don't have expectations. And whether it's good or bad, it's you can take it for what it is. I think if you expect something, then you don't get it. You're disappointed. And even if you do get it, it's not as fulfilling for you because you expected it, right? But anyway, I don't know. I didn't know that fit into Buddhist philosophy.
I never knew the overarching theme of this podcast. Buddhist philosophy.
It's all within.
That is very powerful, though. I should make that a motto. My life.
Should make that our thumbnail. Drinking from the skull.
Oh, he's a pro.
Wait, but we have to talk about your military experience
yeah,
because you said before, I don't know any story, but you just said you got some stories.
Oh man, but I feel like it'd get really long.
Maybe
Military experience.
pick your highlight. Like,
So, oh man, I don't know where to start. So, military experience, right? I think people ask me like, oh, like, was your Korean good enough? Like, how do you survive? It's actually, in a weird way, very good for people who don't speak Korean. Because there's only a certain things you can say. In fact, I don't know if this can go online, but well, when I went, there was a culture in my battalion in particular, and the officials and the enlisted are different. You know that, right? Like enlisted people have their own culture.
Okay.
And in my battalion in particular, we were like enemies with the officials, and they have their own like weird culture, and they call it 이빨 교육, which is like it's like language education for the enlisted people. You're only allowed to say 5 things, right?
wait, let me guess.
Yeah.
Yes, no, yes, sir.
알겠습니다. Yeah.
That's all I know.
잘 못 들었습니다.
I didn't hear you.
In our battalion, that wasn't one. It's okay. Let me try to remember. It's 알겠습니다.
Okay.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
알고 싶습니다. To ask questions.
Oh, I have a question.
확인해 보겠습니다. That's the 잘못 들었습니다.
Oh, please. What's the
확인해
English
보겠습니다 is
translation?
like let me check.
Okay, let
right.
me
So you
check.
can't say like I don't know. You gotta say let me
Let
check.
me check.
네, 알겠습니다. 그렇습니다. 감사합니다. 확인해 보겠습니다.
You didn't do 그렇습니다.
Yeah, 그렇습니다. I think so. 알겠습니다.
알겠습니다.
No,
그렇습니다.
알겠습니다. 감사합니다. 확인했습니다. Man, I should know this. Yeah, I forget, but it's man, I'm so ashamed of myself right now. But it's one of they're the 5 of them, right?
Yeah. Maybe this is 해병대.
That it is 해병대.
Oh, you went to 해병대.
Yeah, 이빨교육 해병대 stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell me you went to 해병대.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do you feel like you want to salute now?
I can't.
Oh, did you
I'm
go to
not
해병대? Oh, okay,
No.
yeah.
See, he doesn't even know. Oh,
That's the Marines, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the Squid Game guy that was like super earnest, he was the Korean Marines.
Yeah.
but I know for a fact that you have to apply for 해병대.
Yeah.
So you intentionally applied for like the most toughest military that there is.
I mean, I don't think it's the most toughest, but yes. Yeah.
But you kind of knew what you were getting into.
Yeah.
Oh, respect, man.
And it's back to the languages, the 5 things. Yeah. So it actually made it easy, right? And like in a weird way, I compare it to like 군대 was like heaven. Everything's heaven for me, but it's like they give you what to eat. You don't have to worry about. You know, in the Bible it says like, do not worry about what to eat, what to drink, what to say. Like literally, they give you what to wear. Like you don't even have to choose what to wear, right? And then they even give you what to say. So it's like there's no worries. Like every day you just do what you're told, and like there's nothing to worry about, right? In that way, it was great. So, but there are a lot of things that I didn't expect. Like there was a lot of weird culture in there. Yeah.
Can you share one with us besides you only speak 5 sentences to your superiors?
So the interesting thing about the 5 languages is that if you notice, there is no like I don't know, right? And there's no no. So in its place, you say 확인해 보겠습니다, which leads to a very weird grammar, right?
Yeah.
So if someone says, like, Nelson, do you have a brother, right? I don't have a brother.
Yeah.
I say 확인해 보겠습니다.
Instead of no.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which is like, what? Like, 확인해 보겠습니다. Or like, yeah, you always have to, anyways, so that was an interesting thing I had to learn.
No problem.
I'll share a tradition that we had. Oh man, I don't know. Would it be interesting? They have a thing called Dragon Ball. Have you heard of this? They have all these weird things, like hazing things.
Okay.
Just a disclosure, like disclaimer. It sounds really messed up. It is messed up. In hindsight, it's messed up.
Yeah.
But the thing about military, you have to understand, it's like a different world. So it's almost like it's hard to judge it by today's society standards, because you go in there and you kind of get brainwashed. Like you don't know what's going on, and it's an easy cop out for me, but there's a lot of messed up stuff. And I think I did a lot of messed up stuff that I, like in hindsight, like, wow, that was messed up. But one of them, during your birthday, right?
Oh no.
Should we skip this part?
I mean, no,
There's
please share.
like a lot of hazing.
People
Yeah.
will know this from dramas, but I've never actually.
Oh yeah, from DP.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Go for it.
I don't know what you're.
You don't know what's gonna happen on someone's birthday?
Well, I know what happens in
Oh,
society,
okay.
but it might be something different in the
Oh,
military.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have this thing called Dragon Ball, where like they go to PX. PX is their like convenience store, and they'll like buy everything they can, and then they'll like lay it out, open and everything, and then for some reason like it's like a sign of being a Marine to like eat a lot. So you're like eat like a dog, right? And then they'll say like, oh, like you kind of eat like a dog, like actually like a dog. And afterwards, there's a special time for the birthday person, like suppose I'm the birthday person. They'll grab like an empty bag of like Doritos, say, and then they'll add a little bit of everything, right? Like a little bit of like kogi, like mandu, a little bit of like kwaja, add a little bit of ice cream, whatever. And they'll get like a plastic glove and like
Oh, you make it into a ball.
That's the Dragon Ball.
주먹밥.
Yeah, and then your 삼촌 기수, which is like, you know, like a certain level position higher than you, they'll like shove it down your throat. You just have to like
eat it.
Yeah. And then if you throw it up, you have to like
Do it again?
Yeah.
You have to throw up?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You have to eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so stuff like that. It sounds like, oh man. The reaction I was expecting was like, ha ha ha, but that just shows me how messed up I was, right? Like, you know, one of those jokes that you tell and everyone goes silent.
Yeah.
You know that's
Like,
like yeah, you know that's messed up, but
TMI.
things like that. It was really fun.
Okay.
not this part, but you know, like a lot of like weird things that I.
Why don't you share one of the fun parts?
I mean, that was fun at the time. So that's the thing. Okay, my biggest takeaway from military fight, there were a couple of big takeaways, but one of them is that the jungle makes the lion, right? You know that saying like, oh, there's a lion make the jungle makes the lion. I went in there thinking, because I knew about all the hazing stuff, I like even journal, right? You go there, you see all the sonims doing like messed up stuff, and you're like, man, I'm never gonna be like them when I become a sonim, right? You like journal it. I was very conscious of it. But then before I knew it, like I was doing the same things, if not worse. And the worst part is that I was enjoying it, right? So it's like I think military taught me how easily influenced I can be by environment.
Yeah.
Even when I'm aware of it.
Everyone, I think.
Yeah. And that was kind of shocking. Like even to this day, I'm like, wow, that was me. Yeah. So humbling experience.
Is your social media profile the time when you were in the Haebyong?
No.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, it's not.
You have like a shave.
Yeah. I used to shave my head like for fun. Like even the States, like we just, you know, shave heads.
I shaved my head up once.
And you have like the Haebyongdae eye.
Oh really?
Social
What is
media
that?
profile.
Oh yeah.
It's like very, you know, very super serious and like.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how to describe this in English. Like very 나를 서 있어.
Oh yeah.
Knowing, right? Like deep?
No.
It's like ready to battle, kind of like combat eyes.
Combative?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Intense.
Yeah.
Aggressive?
Yeah. There's a story to I just uploaded because I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And then when I first started, right? And then I asked some influencers I knew, hey, like, could you like help me with my social media? Like, what should change? There's one girl I remember. She's pretty big. She was like, 딱 보면은 like, oh, I take a look at it. I know you have to change your profile picture. You're never gonna go big with that profile picture, right? So I took that as a challenge. I'm never gonna change this. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good for you.
Cool. Sorry. So you after military, after the Dragon Ball phase, you came back. You went back to the States, got your diploma. You worked for 3 years. You said.
Yeah.
And
Love
then,
Wisconsin or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, is that when you came back to Korea?
Yep.
Okay.
So and you've been living in Korea since, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long has it been?
now.
6 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's.
So you're young. How old are you?
34. I was born in 1990.
Oh, not that young. Sorry.
Whoa!
6 years is a lot.
Oh, Jun is.
You know, in government,
Messed up.
government have a definition for 청년.
Yeah.
Starting this year, I'm not 청년 anymore.
Yeah, like where you can get like the 청년 대출 and stuff.
What's 청년 mean?
청년
Youngin?
means young adult.
Yeah, young man.
Young adult
Yeah.
benefits are gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nelson,
Yeah.
what do you do for work now? And how'd you make your way to it? And tell us about working life in Korea.
Yeah, so I work as a product manager for an app that teaches Korean to foreigners, Tida. Download now in the App Store.
No, do it.
How I got the job, I live in Pangyo, so I was looking for a job around the area, and Tida was one of them, and they were looking for a content manager. At the time I was doing like film. I was like, oh, I'm interview there, got the job. It was a 10-minute walk. So I was like, oh yes. Month later they moved to freaking Gongdok, like a 2-hour. Yeah.
Oh, really? It's really far away?
An hour and a half, yeah.
Wow.
But anyways,
You stuck
that's
with
how I
them?
got the job. Huh?
You stuck with them through the move?
Yeah. 6 years now. I've been working with them ever since. So
And you said you're one of the starting members?
yeah, I'm.
How did you
one
get
of
to
the-
meet these people?
Rocket Punch is
Oh,
a
yeah.
startup like website thing. So
Oh. So was that the only reason why you were looking to work in startups, just because you were living in the Pangyo area, or did you have like an affinity towards that environment?
I mean, it's only it's only one of the only jobs that were like around here that fit the criteria. And to be honest, I didn't care too much. I was like, I just want, let me find a job. And, I got
I'm
lucky.
curious, because you did have 3 years working experience in the US, and then now you've been at this startup now for 6 years.
Yeah.
So curious what differences you see in Korean working environments. I know startup might not be your most traditional in Korea, but curious about that. And also, I think maybe Koreans who grew up in Korea, of course, they know exactly what to expect in a Korean company, etc. But you have almost no experience living and growing up in Korea until this work. I'm curious how that makes it easier, harder, different for you adapting and working in a Korean work environment now.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm the best person to speak about Korean work environment because I don't have anything to compare to.
Yeah,
the only
sure.
thing was like that. But I think because it was a startup and it was starting, I had a lot of say and room to curate my own environment, work environment. And because I had a good example from the previous workplace, I got to like model that here. You know?
Cool. Yeah.
Not to say I did it all, but I think I
tried.
I was like, oh, like I think this is what an ideal work environment will look like and where I thrive. So little decisions, I think, made the startup I'm working in right now like a very ideal place to work. Of course, there were like cultural differences at times, but all in all, I think I would say my company is probably different from other Korean startups. That's my guess, but
I think startups are very different from Korean workplaces to begin with. And I think, foreigner, I mean, if there are foreigners looking for a job in Korea, I think a very good, like, easing ground would be to work at a startup.
Yeah.
Or at least, like, in the tech industry.
Yeah.
Because even myself, I'd never worked in, like, a traditional Korean workplace. So whenever I describe what Korean workplaces are like, I always I'm very conscious of even my experience is probably very different from what a normal Korean workplace is. Man, like I majored in civil engineering in college, and all of my college friends, they work for like a construction company, and the stories that I hear from them are like crazy to me. Yeah,
Like Dragon Balls.
yeah,
Being eaten at Eshik.
almost to that level. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard some stories too.
Yeah.
But I do hear it's getting better, right? Korean culture is changing a lot.
Yeah, I heard that
like
too.
even the Hajik culture, I think is changing a lot.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about work or interesting things that came up? Otherwise, we'll move on to
Did I already do
dating.
the download now? in the App Store? I did, right?
You did, yeah.
Okay.
Can you say it in like very clear pronunciation? It's tuida, right?
Yeah.
Tuida.
That's the worst.
Well, Anglification.
Oh, it's
'Cause when I-
Tuida.
Yeah, when I read it, it's Teuda.
Yeah, that's the worst decision we made for our company.
how
I
do you
think I don't know, because we will hire influencers to like promote our app, and everyone's like, download Teuda.
Yeah, that's
which
how I would
means-
read it.
Yeah,
But how is it actually pronounced?
Tuida.
It's
I mean, it's a very. I think it's a very clever.
yeah. The meaning is good.
Yeah, because it's when you start, like for a baby, when they start talking. Oh, you say 말이 트이다.
Yeah, 말문이 트이다. It's like when something that is previously closed opens for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So you can do
That is meaningful.
for mouth or for ear too, right? Trida, something too.
But you only use
Like
it
their ears
for
are
language.
open, their mouth is
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
For language. Oh, it's very powerful.
But like those words are very like pronunciation only exists in Korean.
Yeah, the
almost like
Ida.
Ida.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nelson, working at a language like learning app, I'm sure you have some thoughts about how language itself impacts you as a person, right? And it came up earlier too, but I just wanted to give you a chance. Like, do you have any thoughts on how language makes you different or can, yeah.
Yeah. I think language broadens your perspective in life, not just because you can meet new people and, have conversations with people in different languages, but I think something about language itself changes the way you look at the world, right? You hear about the Inuits who have like 50 different words for ice and water. They see things differently.
Yeah.
Or even like the spectrum from green to blue, like depending on what you see different colors. I think that applies for like life as well. Because you have a word called chong, you feel chong. Because you have a word for saudade in Brazil, like you feel saudade, And I think
What's saudade? Sorry.
it's like the closest thing is like I think nostalgia, but it's like a feeling of missing something. Yeah, I think it's one of those words.
I love those words that only exist in one language.
Yeah.
Like there's a German word like Weltschmerz. When I found this word and what it meant, I was like, oh my God, this is like my life word. But anyway.
What does it mean?
It's like a sentimental sadness about the world. It's not sad. It's like it's kind of longing. And anyway, it's this feeling that not all is right. And I'm not German, so I'm probably butchering it. But when I read the word and the meaning, I was like, oh wow, I never knew this word before, but it's how I feel all the time. Yeah.
That's good.
But okay, I have to throw this in. We might cut it. But you guys have all heard of language models, right? AI, GPTs, right? There is an ongoing discussion right now, like latest research. Are LLMs enough to get you to full, let's say, generalized intelligence or AGI, right? And a lot of people think, no, you need, let's say, like multimodal inputs. You need, sensory from eyes or hearing or whatever. And you can't just do it through language. But then there's another school of thought that is like, well, what if you just describe what you would see in the input you take in through your eyes in words? Is that enough for a machine to learn and experience, right? Or become intelligent like we would think? And I think at the core of this debate, though, it's like, are we only able to think thoughts that we have the language to explain, right? Or are we only able to learn and hold things in our minds that we have language to explain, right? And this link between knowledge and intelligence and language is like at the forefront of some of the, AI debates right now. So I just think it's really fascinating. And it's something that, again, I think about a lot because I feel like I'm only able to speak English fluently. Yeah. And I'm really slow and bad at language acquisition, right? So it's like, oh, how does that limit me, right? Wait, why are you laughing? But I just had to bring it up because it's language is so core and fundamental. And that movie, right? Was it Arrival? Where they have no sense of time and it's not in their language. Yeah. And so it just totally warps how they see the world. Right? Yeah. But anyway.
Love that movie.
I personally think that there is another layer that is not language related. I think I already gave you like one of my best friends in grad school. He lived in the States from when he was like 13 or something, but he used very broken English. And he's Hong Kongese, and his Cantonese wasn't that good either. So he has like a thing, so he's not good with languages. But then I think there's like a limited resource for human beings, like that's dedicated to language. But if like he only uses this much of resource, then there's something else. Because he was like so creative. Oh,
so he's very intelligent or creative, but he's just really bad with language.
Yeah. So I think there's another layer that is not language related that makes you comprehend the world in some way. Like I'm pretty sure my cat has a way of understanding the world, but he doesn't use language.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there must be like this very instinctual way of, like you said, like sensory way of understanding the world without language. But I do agree that it very dictates your thought process. Yeah. In both good and bad ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's so interesting because in Korean culture too, so much of communication is nonverbal, right? It's like through the eyes and the facial expressions and the body language. And of course, everyone is like that, right? They say only a small percentage of communication is verbal. But I feel like in Korea, it's skewed even more so. But yeah, very interesting. Nelson, in some of our previous dinner conversations, you brought up some hilarious, hilarious might be too strong of a word, like really interesting stories around dating culture in Korea that is, again, so different than what I remember it being. It's been a long time since I dated in the US. Is there anything you want to share or talk about related to that?
Wait, in the U.S., you guys are comparing it to the U.S. dating culture?
My understanding of dating culture in the
I
US.
see.
Yeah.
So I never dated in the US. So I don't know if this is like, oh, like compared to US is interesting, or it's just me like getting into the dating or for the first time it's like, oh, this is how dating is done. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if it's like a Jun, please correct me.
Of course.
So 소개팅, right? It's a thing in Korea. And I wasn't familiar with 소개팅. I don't know how it was done. But apparently there's like some like standard like procedures that you go through. And maybe it's like a given to people. It's just because I'm new to dating. Maybe that's what it is, right? But that was kind of like interesting to me.
Well, first for our audience, like I don't even know what sogeting means.
Okay.
You got to start basic, right?
Jun, could you explain 소개팅 for me?
Soting is basically a blind date. There's like a mutual person who knows both people, and they act like sort of like a matchmaker. Well, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Wait, do you want me to set the table?
Yeah, set the table, right? Yeah. Because to be clear, that's super common in the US too, right? I'm sure in the whole world. Oh, hey, like these two would get along well, maybe they want to go out on a date. But again, my understanding is this is maybe the most common and maybe the only acceptable way to kind of like meet and go on a first date with someone. But
Not necessarily. There's always a thing called 자만추. You know what 자만추 is? 자연스러운 만남 추구. Where it's not set up in that way, but you just like, maybe if you like meet someone at like some mo임 and then, like that naturally get to know someone and start dating. That's like 자만추.
that happens.
People who prefer to meet naturally.
Yeah.
자만추, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Like if you had that ballpark,
Well,
how many couples meet naturally?
Well, 자만추 technically means that I prefer that way of dating. It's like 추구 is like what's 추구?
Prefer?
Yeah, I prefer. That's like the way I do it.
Could you ballpark what % of couples end up meeting through this more natural, just like, oh, I see you at your meeting, or
don't
like
know
I see you
about-
on the street or at a bar?
I would even say half and half.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That high? Okay, my mind is blown.
I think you have a perception that all Koreans meet through 소개팅,
Yes,
which is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
true.
yeah. Okay.
I think if not even more people meet through 자만추, I want to say.
Yeah. I think it's changing a lot too, right?
Yeah.
But I think back in the days, it was a lot of like setups, right?
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with Korean culture, like valuing, I don't know.
And then there's the dating apps these
Yeah,
days.
dating apps, yeah.
Anyways. But dating apps are not 자만추, but it doesn't involve a middle person.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, that is actually really surprising to me. Yeah.
That a lot of people...
That you said maybe it's not even the most common way that a couple gets together and meets.
Yeah, because like a lot of people meet through college or like at work and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, CC.
CC.
Okay, like campus couple.
Both for campus couple and company couple.
Okay,
Yeah.
But what about the more like literally I'm at the street or I just like come up to someone and say hi and introduce yourself?
That is almost never happens.
I see. So maybe my understanding of what you're defining as the natural giant whatever is different.
Wait, by the way, you know what Koreans call that
What?
thing where you like pick up someone on the street, which is horrible.
Oh, hunting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It just hit me. I always, knew the term hunting, but now that you say, hunting.
Oh yeah,
That's wild.
No, the first time I heard hunting pocha, I was like, wait, what? that would
that's
never
wild.
fly.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna get canceled because like, who are you to bring the hunting like meeting into Korea? But yeah,
it came from it. I mean, it came from an English word. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hunting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, okay. Men don't go hunting for women, and women don't go hunting for men, okay? But in Korea, they do.
Wait, maybe I can describe like the sogeting experience I had, and then you can tell me if like that's common in the US. And then if
again-
it's like too common, we can just cut this whole part out.
But I'm one of the least experienced daters.
Okay.
But at least, my friends date. Okay, let's go.
So
What's a sogeting?
usually what happens is like I'll get a cacao from
Okay.
like perhaps like my parents or like my friends, someone who knows someone who.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When your parents do it, it's not called 소개팅.
Oh, is it? What is it called?
So, I mean,
Oh, son?
son,
Oh
yeah.
man, that's weird. Son, I almost feel like it's like marriage or not, right?
But it is kind
it
of
is
no.
kinda like
when
that?
your parents set you up with someone.
I don't know.
The premise is that you get married. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, anyways, I get to say, oh, like you should reach out to her or whatever. So I reach out, and then we have like a very small, like very short talk, right? Hi, like I was introduced by
Over
so-and-so.
chat. So you're
Yeah,
chatting. Okay.
and let's grab dinner or coffee sometime. And then I'm supposed to, I don't know if this, oh man, I feel so weird. I'm supposed to send like an option of
Okay.
like, oh, here are like 3 places,
Yeah.
like whatever. And then pick a time and date and we meet, right? Is this pretty common so far in the States? Like, is that something?
There are differences, but keep
Okay.
going. Yeah.
But I feel like the whole thing is a little like artificial because it's almost like there's a guideline that people follow
Yeah.
and people have to follow. It's not a organic thing. It's kind of like the helping out thing you mentioned earlier. Like there's an expectation of what's
Yeah.
supposed to. And if you do something that's like against that expectation, people might be like, oh, like, why would you do that kind of thing?
Sorry, even before the text intro, though, I'm surprised there's not more background. Like,
Oh, there is some background.
what
share.
happens before you even get introduced into a chat
But that's
thread?
interchanged through the middle person.
Yeah, middle
usually.
person.
Exactly.
So the middle
So the
person,
broker.
Yeah, the broker. Yeah. But another interesting thing that I feel like I don't understand is that like people when they meet
Yeah.
they kind of pretend they haven't heard the info.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Just you have to go through this like kind of play.
Because you don't want to. Because you don't. I mean, okay, no.
No, please, yeah.
I think a lot of things that you said that you almost described as like a protocol.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more flexibility there.
Oh, there
it's
is
not
there?
that
Yeah.
the guy has to show options or something.
Ah.
It's just I feel it's more natural. If you say in the conversation you feel that the woman is more eager to choose the option, then I'll just let them do it.
I
Yeah,
see.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe yeah.
It's not
but-
it's not super formulaic, yeah, compared to how you described it.
Gotcha.
For instance, like I might say that I heard this and this from you, but I think the underlying tone is that you don't wanna look too calculative. Like I've heard all of this and therefore I met you kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like manners in my mind.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
But
Yeah.
in a natural conversation, if you feel like it's okay to say, like,
Yeah.
I heard that you went to this college,
Yeah.
I think it's totally fine.
Yeah. And so I think maybe because like I try to be like careful.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are like and talking to other people. I've made like I'll do something like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Like you got to do this. Why would you do that? I'm like, I thought that was natural, but because I get like comments, feedback, I'm like, oh, I guess this is the way I have to do it, kind of thing. But-
I see. I think it's kind of reinforcing because if I want to guess, I think Korean people might think that you don't know so much about the culture.
Yeah.
So they try to say things in a more, I guess you have to obey the rules kind of way. Like you shouldn't do that and you should do this. But I'm guessing that those people wouldn't say that to a Korean.
So one example, just to like make it more, and this might be just me being weird, not like an American, but just me being weird. But I like dates, like first dates, where we can do stuff together, right?
Active.
Yeah, so I've taken people out on like hikes on the first day. Koreans will hear that be like, "What's
What?
wrong with you?" Right? But one of the best dates I had was like, in fact, my ex-girlfriend. Like, I took her hiking the first day, and it was great. And I feel like there is a benefit to hiking, where like or like doing active things, where like even if you don't end up together, you did something fun, right? Like no one's time was technically wasted. But I don't think that's the traditional route people go towards, right? Like not fun. It's more like a dinner or coffee.
I just had an epiphany.
Okay, what's this, Jun?
I feel like when Korean Americans or like foreigners come to Korea and feel like there's so many rules to obey, I think it's this phenomena where Korean people think that they don't know better, so they just give very strict rules to follow instead. And then the foreigner doesn't know so well, so they think that this is how society works in general here, and you have to strictly follow this. But like, if you could be more flexible, I think there are more room than you think to be flexible. I mean, if you take a girl on a first date to hiking, it sounds kind of like not normal, not ordinary. But if you're that kind of person and you're Korean, I would just think, oh, that's like Nelson is that kind of guy, and it worked out well. It's fine, right? I would never say to a Korean saying like, "What were you thinking?" Right? Because that's just who you are and that's how you vibe, then that's fine.
Gotcha.
But if like Nelson is like, he grew up in Brazil and he did that, my immediate like Korean mind would say like, oh, he doesn't know about the culture, so he did something kind of weird, and I should teach him. You know what I mean? You know, do you see the difference here?
Attributing
Kind
to
of, yeah.
foreignness, what could be attributed to just like individual.
Yeah, like
You're saying both ways. You're saying Koreans will both judge foreigners for doing something that's non-traditional.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing it because they don't know better. They're
Yes.
foreigner.
Yeah.
Rather than they're just doing it because that's their preference.
Yes, exactly.
And similarly, you're saying, that's basically the thing.
yeah,
you're saying, right?
whatever weird like idiosyncratic thing that a Korean does, a Korean person would think, oh, it's just their individual preference. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I have a different take too. I agree with what you just said, by the way, but you're not going to like this. Jun, I think it's you. You said yourself, little 눈치 없어.
Yeah.
But in general, you don't care as much about conforming
Yeah.
and following tradition as most Koreans do. Because I actually feel more like Nelson on this. There is like a standard protocol. It just play it safe. It's conformist. It's collectivist. Like both people know what's going to happen. Let's just like start there. And you have to establish some trust before, again, like you can reveal some of your individuality in Korea.
I agree to a certain extent. I'm more like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to. But I never felt like a very harsh backlash from it, saying like, oh, you shouldn't do it that way. Or maybe they did and I just didn't care.
눈치 없어.
But I like, 잘 살고 있어. Like,
I know.
I have no problem.
That's the right
living
way.
it, Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to say right or wrong, but
yeah.
okay.
Well, the thing, I guess the fundamental thing that I wanted to say in this instance is that you don't really have to care that much. Yeah, it's okay when Koreans try to like preach you that you have to follow certain rules. I think it's just okay.
But even if I don't care about them,
Yeah.
right? If the women are expecting a certain thing, and I suggest, like I do something that's like, oh, this guy's weird. I don't want to do that too, right? So I want to kind of do me, but also contextualize it to what they're comfortable with.
But like, I would argue because like, who cares? Because at the end of the day, you want to get along with this person, and if this person likes the way as you are, then it's just better that way. Just like just expose yourself earlier. I'm just the kind of person. I'm the type of person who likes to go on activities on the first date. Then just why not do it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My take on the whole, what I hear about Korean dating culture, I think one of the biggest differences I'd say is an American mindset is much more focused, I think, on romance. Whereas it feels like Korean dating is just super focused on like practicality. Well, that too, yeah. But romance and love, like that's most important. And in Korea, it's just, are you compatible? Does it make sense, right? Is this logically going to end in something that benefits both parties, right? Like for example, when I hear the guy presents 3 options to the girl, that's conscientious, right? Oh, do you have a preference, right? But in my mind, that's like so not romantic, right?
Yeah.
I'll finish after this.
Yeah.
I can see my cat now.
Or like when you call, you guys translated sogeting as blind date, right? But it's really not blind at all. Like there's a lot of back channeling happening. Like, oh, do you like the looks? Do you like the specs, the history, the background? Okay, let's meet. Whereas like, of course, some of that can happen to an extent. But blind date in the US is like, hey, are you open to dating? I got a friend. Just go out to dinner. Literally, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Koreans would be horrified thinking about that.
Yeah.
But, that's a blind date. You don't know anything really other than maybe a name.
I think this is I feel like this is a point where I have to come in and defend the Koreans. I don't think it's more about...
I
don't think it's
Wait,
more...
Jun, before you go on.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the sensibility and practicality of this aspect of Korean dating.
Oh, well, what I'm saying... Well, you're not appreciative about the fact that it's more about the calculative things than the romance.
Well, I never said calculative, yeah.
Oh,
calculative has a negative connotation, dude. But I said practical.
But that you are referring to the specs and stuff. No?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you were?
Your Korean mind immediately goes to specs.
In the dinner, we had a talk about this, and Daniel actually said, oh, I actually like this about Korean culture.
Yeah, it's
like
not
the practical, thinking about realistic things.
Yes, but it's so funny that you go to specs, and when I say practical, for me, it's values, right? It's not at all specs.
Oh, I see.
Like, do you have similar sense of humor? Do you have similar thoughts on how to like spend money? Are you aligned on like kids? Yes or no? Stuff like that.
Oh, those are the practicality.
Yeah, no specs. Specs to me, I don't even think about. Yeah, because that's so not romantic.
Yeah. Oh, but what I'm saying is that I think still the underlying basis is the romance.
In Korea too?
Yeah, I don't think it's more about the practicality.
Ooh, that's so interesting. Like, I just don't see it. Like when you say you're so shocked when Koreans hear like of a surprise proposal, right?
That's an interesting topic.
Like proposals, literally the most important part in America is that it's a surprise, right? You might have talked about marriage, but when and how and with what are you going to propose has to be a surprise. Right?
I think proposals are tricky, and I don't know why Koreans do it, especially in the way that they're doing it these days.
Well, it's because marriage is more focused on practicality. And then romance is almost secondary to that.
But like I feel like you don't even have to do the proposal in Korea. And I think the way that they're doing proposals these days it's just kind of, I don't know the word.
Formality?
Like 허세. You know what 허세 is?
Yeah. Like show off.
Yeah, kind of like a show off. You have to post it on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways. I thought you were, by practicality, I thought you were referring to the specs.
Because that's what Koreans think of when they say practicality.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of my things. It's not, romance is not the critical element, let's say, in dating and marriage. Where I feel like in America, again, that is what is seen as the most important thing. And to be clear, leads to a lot of unfortunate situations in marriages where there might have been romance, but there's just no practical way that this would have worked out, right? They're too misaligned on values, on different things, right? And so, again, probably a blend of both is good. But that's what I see.
There's a higher divorce rate.
I think there's a lot of factors into that. I won't bring that up right now because probably more Korean couples should get divorced, probably. Anyway, I'm really taking shots here. No, Anyway, and then let me qualify that then if we do include it, because from an American context, right, with my perspective on marriage, maybe more Korean couples should get divorced. But from a Korean perspective, it's not, because maybe it is more based on practicality and mutual gain rather than, again, romance or, let's call it love, right? But even that's a very tricky thing. Because how do you define love?
Because you feel like there's no romance there.
Again, I think when I go into or think about your perfect ideal marriage, the practicality of just like, okay, are these things aligned? Are our specs matched, etc. That's like literally has zero weight, right? And I think it should have more weight.
Yeah.
But because of how I grew up, right, the mellows and the romance movies and how love is depicted in America, I think that's just how I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. To be clear, you're not saying that these people should get divorced. You're saying that in an American perspective.
Yeah.
It's
like, they don't love each other anymore. Why are they together?
Yeah.
But in Korea, it's like, oh no, it makes sense. Like we're aligned, our families are okay, kids, etc. Again, these are very. Maybe I paint the picture a little bit more black and white, but yeah, that was the first thing that came out when you were like, in an American person, maybe the guy would be like, oh, do you have any food preferences? And then they pick the restaurant to almost, again, it's like a surprise, it's romantic. Maybe the other person doesn't know what to expect. Oh, I'll just pick you up at 7, be ready. That's all you say.
I think that's also like a bit of a contextual thing because you drive everywhere. But in Korean sogetings, you have to meet at the place. So you can't make it as a surprise.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
No. Again, I would never say meet me at the restaurant. I would say, I'll meet you at the subway station, and then we'll walk there. Right?
Oh.
It's like it's a surprise.
But what if that person doesn't? Oh, you're just risking.
No, I would say like, oh, how are you like?
What if this person doesn't like this restaurant?
Yeah, that's the risk you take. Jun.
Yeah, that's a risk.
That's why we don't care about practicality. It's about romance, surprise, excitement, love, right?
But is that love if you just think about yourself?
You're not thinking, no. I asked, right? It's like, oh, do you have a preference, vetoes, allergies? You can ask those things. But to say like, pick from these 3 feels a little bit too practical, right? It's like non-romantic. And I'm just getting at what I think is the heart of the first thing that came out to me, both from the pre-blind date introduction to the logistics of scheduling the date, right? And in a sense, like, in line with what you were saying, Nelson, doing different things, off-beaten things. That's probably the second goal in America, is to be memorable, right? First is to be romantic, which involves surprise, excitement, etc. The second is, okay, most likely it's not going to work out. At least let me stand out to be memorable and unique, right? Which also feels very counter-Korean culture. Yeah.
I have another thing that I want to say. I think Americans are too into surprises. Do you agree? They love the surprise.
Oh, we love surprise, yeah.
I think it might be a very American culture though.
Yeah.
Like surprises.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question for you guys. Like when you receive gifts, right?
Yeah.
This was a culture shock, even in my company.
Yeah.
Do you prefer people to like choose your gift for you and like they pick it and then give it to you as a like surprise? Oh, like I wonder what they got, or do you want to just be, like, oh, this is what I want to get, and then they just buy what you want?
Oh, it depends. It depends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For me, it's always the former, right? Like the joy for me is like, oh, they
surprise.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
cool, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I put so much value as in what the actual gift is as much as like the thought.
Yeah.
But I think from what I experienced, a lot of Koreans are into the utilitarian aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So they'll just say like, I want this, or like, and I'm okay with that, but it's like, is it fun? Like even in a company, right? They'll just say, oh, here's a list of things I want to get as my birthday gift. I'm like, okay, but
It depends. I think that there's definitely a more utilitarian aspect. I think there should be more Korean people preferring to receive and give gifts that way than the States.
Jun, I feel like you're defensive for no reason. Like, I really appreciate the practicality, but you're saying Koreans should be more.
Oh, I'm not defensive at all. I'm trying to depict accuracy.
Okay, but you do wish there were Koreans
because
leaned a little bit away from the practicality utilitarian aspect.
Because I feel like sometimes foreigners exaggerate reality because they see something different and their immediate mind says,
sure.
this is how it works.
Yeah.
And they exaggerate that part. I want to balance it a little bit because
sure.
they're like, in reality, it's not exactly black and white like that. For instance, the only gift giving relationship that works the latter for me is between me and my brother.
oh,
Like, what do you want? And I'm like, I want this. I send it, and he buys it for me.
Yeah.
And it works out perfectly.
Yeah.
All the other gift giving, me personally,
Yeah.
with my friends or coworkers, doesn't work that way. I just give what I want to give them, and they give me what they want to give.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
what's it like for you, Daniel? Like, do you want to be gifted something?
Oh, for me, giving gifts? Receiving gifts.
Yeah.
Oh. It's definitely 100% thought that counts. Yeah. I don't care if it's practical. I don't care if I don't like it or will use it. It's just, they thought of me. It's meaningful in and of itself. Yeah.
So you don't like it when people ask you, hey, what do you want for your birthday gift? Like, tell me.
No, I don't mind anything because when they do that, it's like, I can tell their heart is like
gotcha.
they want to get something that I like. So I'll do my best to give a preference. But then almost always I'll be like, I'm happy with anything. Don't worry. But yeah, I think this is exemplified in Korean society the most because of this. Jun, what is the most common gift that you give to your parents?
money.
Money.
Yeah.
Cash is king in Korea and Asian societies in general because it's so utilitarian.
Yeah.
Right? And I will say this very confidently. In America, the thought of giving cash is a no-no. It is the most like meaningless, cold gift you could give. It's almost an insult. It's like, I don't know you well enough and all you care about is the value of what you're getting. So I'm just going to give you cash. It's seriously a no-no. And it's been replaced a bit with gift cards, right?
Yeah.
Like gift cards are it's cash.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. You're spending more money because there's that surcharge. Instead of giving you $100, here's a $95 gift card because I feel so embarrassed to give you cash. It's so heartless and cold, right? But if you give someone a gift card too, this is almost a sign either our relationship is like we have a mutual understanding that it's it's hard for me to think of something. I don't know what you have already. Here's that. Or it's a sign that we're not close. So
yes, I agree that gift giving is very utilitarian. Therefore, like the Starbucks Americano is almost like a currency in Korea because it's like very safe because no one would not
use
drink
it.
a Starbucks Americano. But like the money giving it has a little bit of cultural nuance there.
Yeah,
Because if you would argue that money is king and it's the most utilitarian thing, why wouldn't you give money to your friends? Because that's a no-no too.
It is in Korea.
Yeah, and giving money to your parents is almost like I'm like giving back what like you provided to me, and therefore like I'm like, because you provided me with like all the economic stability, right? And now I'm a grown up, I like give it back to you, kind of. So there is kind of like a symbolic thing there. And I mean, to be clear, it's very utilitarian, but it's not. It's more about like gift giving. It's more like I pay back to you kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll concede the cultural nuance to parent gift giving with cash. How about weddings? Because we've already talked about what an American wedding registry looks like, right? The honeymoon fund.
Yeah.
You know, if you just give cash, again, it's kind of cold, right? So instead, you buy something for their home. You buy them an experience on their honeymoon. You don't ever just give cash, right? Even though practically that makes the most sense, you just don't do it, right? So I want to hear you talk about that.
Maybe there's like a historical, like
Yeah, I
maybe
think
it's
so.
like a place of privilege for Americans because they don't like desperately need cash.
Yeah.
But I hear like the story behind Chugigam is that they literally didn't have money to like prepare the wedding, so they need money to be able to do that. Right? So they will like collect the village would come together
Before the wedding, almost, or you just you have the wedding on loan, knowing that the gifts you give you'll repay.
Yeah.
Kind of, And so that culture, I think, maybe carried on, and even to this day they do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's my guess.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I think it's a very developed country mindset. Like I want to give a gift to you that you like because
I don't need the money.
This person probably has everything figured out, but I'm just gonna give this thing. But for like Korea, like they're economically not that well off. Like that money for like you described very accurately. Like the village people got collecting money together for the wedded couple to like start off their life, like get a place to live, like get necessities and stuff like that was I think more important than
I mean, I'll concede, bringing it back to how we started this, even romance, I concede maybe that's a developed country luxury. But my question is, Korea now is a developed country. So are these things changing? And if so, it feels like very slowly.
But like
right? It's still rooted in practicality and utility over like romance, excitement, you know.
But you
like how long has it been?
Yeah, it's so recent.
It's only been like 30 years.
Again, I only know my context, right? I grew up in a booming America in the 80s, so I don't know, right?
I think culture or tradition sort of lingers on, and it's been so like recent that Korea became this like what we are right now. So like it becomes like a culture, and maybe as like it's gonna like die off a little bit now, then maybe later on it's gonna be more common to give gifts.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so. I think so. Yeah, Korea's like young money. They're still
So you attribute this mostly to Korea's, let's say, economic development, not any other like collectivist or Confucian background or history.
Oh, I'm sure there's
or utilitarian.
I want to say East Asian culture in general.
Cash is king.
It's very utilitarian
overall
for some reason. Maybe it does tie back to the economic thing, but like maybe China and Korea. I think Japan is less so. Maybe then it proves that it's an economic thing. Japan was very wealthy from the 60s, 70s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else dating related?
We only scratched the surface, I think.
I feel like
I know, but for the
that
sake of the
3 option
thought,
thing was blown out of proportion. I was like, that was just an option, and then we went on for the 3 option thing. Yolak, I don't know if you guys ever talked about the Yolak stuff.
What's your lot?
Like contacting 24/7. I feel like that's like a common thing in Korea.
Let's
You know,
talk
like
about
they're
it.
more
between couples.
Yeah. I don't know if that's something interesting to talk about. But
is that different in the States? You don't text each other?
I mean, do we really want to get into this? I think a ton of people, myself included, recognize or would observe that Korean relationships feel very possessive and very singularly inwardly focused, right? The classic, even why the Kenneth controversy is a thing, this idea that now that we're dating, you cannot even have friends or contact with people of the other, gender, right? That again would be like considered toxic behavior in the US, but it feels almost romantic in Korea. Like, oh, he's so jealous for me. He's so possessive of me. I'm everything to him. I can't have any other boyfriends. Oh, ho, ho. That's like almost like, oh my God, he loves me. He's serious. Whereas in America, you're like, biggest red flag ever, run. If he's not letting you have friends of the other gender, you got to run, right? So I don't know if we want to get into it, but
I mean, I think it's a classic individual versus relationism thing, right? Because it's about the relationship between you and this person. And I think in a more individualistic society, you still have a lot more room for your individual, like your freedom and like the space that you can be yourself, kind of.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Korea, like your relationship between that person is just only defined by that relationship almost. So
That's good.
do you get what I'm saying? Like to me, you're you know, Melissa. You're my girlfriend and
Okay.
not Melissa almost. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
They lose their individuality, and now it is possessive because it's relational. You're saying the possessiveness comes from the relational aspect.
Yeah, but I mean, viewing it as a possessive is also coming from your point of view.
I think possessive carries a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how else to describe it. Sorry, that behavior is very negative to me.
Yeah.
But it's a relative thing. Yeah.
Okay, getting back to personas then, Jun. Why wouldn't there be this mutual understanding in a committed couple that that other person does have friends of, let's say, the other gender that I don't know, so long as they don't bring it into the relationship? Or why isn't the persona roles you talk about, where you are a different person with every relationship that you have, why doesn't that apply here? So long as you don't, just don't talk about that other friend that's the other gender, right? And we're okay. But if you ever find out, then it's like almost like the relationship is over. Like, oh, like you drove in the car with them or whatever, even though they're a coworker they knew before you started dating.
Is it totally fine that you are in a relationship and you're in a car with someone who you can potentially have a romantic relationship with? Is it 100% just fine?
I mean, 100% might not be
I'm just
accurate.
curious.
Yeah. I think I would like to be the type of person that would not care at all. I would care a little, but not really, especially if I know that person. And maybe that's the thing. Like, you're more open with your loose connections in America. So I would probably have met all my wife's coworkers before.
Yeah.
Right? And like, there's almost a trust built up.
Yeah.
And I know that, hey, they had a relationship at work.
Yeah.
Not like a dating one, not romantic, but they've been working together. Like, of course, they're going to continue to hang out together, go on business trips. Like, who am I to like make her change her relationship?
I think there's a universal thing, right? You don't want that person to have this goes to like monogamous relationship and like whatever. But ultimately, you don't want that person to date other people, right? That's like a universal thing almost, right?
Again, everyone has their preferences, but yeah, I'd say most people want to be in a monogamous, committed relationship.
Yeah. Okay, let's. Okay, the premise is that it's a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
You don't want that person to date other people, right? So there's a line that you have to draw, and that line is slightly different in Korea. It's not like black and white almost. Like for instance,
I guess I take issue with the term slightly different. Yeah, it feels like it's very different.
Would you be okay with your romantic partner to go on trip with another guy person, the two people?
I mean, it's so contextual, right? Like, do I know that guy? How long have they been friends? Is this something they do before? Like, what are sleeping accommodations, right? It's so contextual that I really don't feel comfortable answering that. Like, it's not a definitive no for me. Like, my wife hangs out with her old, male friends all the time. And even if that male's single, I really don't care. I know, it's just so, I think it's just so different to think about, like, because I think most Korean guys would be like, wow, that guy is dumb or something. I don't know, just like, yeah. Like, it literally happens. And it's almost, you're looking at me like it's scandalous. Like, it's not scandalous. They've been friends for 20 years. Like, even if that guy's not single, like, I can't go hang out. I don't want to hang out. But I met him once. It's like, no big deal. Yeah.
I'm just trying to say that it's all relational. It's just a line that you have to draw at some point. And you might be an anomaly. I would imagine that some American people can say no, you can't go on a trip with some guy.
Oh yeah, let's not make it personal. I would say the ideal you aspire to in America, what I just described, would be seen as very healthy, trusting relationship. And that's the ideal that all, let's say, again, you can never say all, right? But that's the ideal that many people elevate in America for what a trusting, committed relationship looks like, is full trust, no like rules, let's say. And I think the ideal that maybe a lot of Koreans aspire to is like, no, it'd be great if when a couple gets together, they cut off all their friends. Like, that's awesome. They can sacrifice that for each other. So there is no misunderstanding or trust. And so I just think that ideal is very different, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, to clarify, what I'm trying to do is like balance it out and try to like make the two people understand, like the two cultures understand each other better. Like, I don't think Korean, I mean, you, in an American lens, the Korean relationship might feel very possessive and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And in a Korean mindset, viewing an American like healthy relationship, what you describe, say like, oh, that guy's dumb, kind of. So
fully agreed. Yeah,
it's kind of, it's a relative thing.
But I guess I want to make sure my understanding of the ideal committed Korean relationship is accurate. Like, if let's say I have friends at work, like that's a woman, and I start dating someone, and all of a sudden I cannot see or hang out with them individually, is that seen as like noble for me or a sacrifice? Or is it seen as like, oh, like that's kind of bad behavior on my part? That's not fair to my friend who's a coworker either, right? I guess I just want to understand what's the ideal Korean committed relationship goals. Yeah. And I think those are different. Yeah.
Every time I say this, you kind of think that I'm kind of extreme and anomaly. But I think it depends on the person.
Oh, so you're saying, okay, you're saying there is no ideal committed relationship vision in Korea that you feel okay stamping. Yeah.
I mean, there's a tendency, but that differs by person and like the relationship with that person.
Okay. I mean, if we're going to go that way, we can't say anything generalizing on the pod, right? Because everything I say about America, too, is with the like understanding that I'm just one perspective. And again, every American is so different and unique. But this is let's say the picture of what American society would say is like the ideal committed, trusting relationship. It's like, that person can hang out with whoever, however they want, right? They are committed to you. There's trust there.
But okay, I feel like, again, sometimes like when foreigners view Korean culture, it's also through a very specific lens.
Of course, we recognize that, I think.
And it tends to be exaggerated sometimes. I think I want to calibrate that a little bit. I'm not saying that just because there are certain anomalies, it's not like that. There are tendencies, but it's not like very black and white. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
that's interesting. Yeah, I think, I don't know why do I feel so comfortable generalizing American culture?
I think there's a comfortable amount of tendency that I feel it's okay to generalize. And sometimes if it's like, oh, I see a lot of other instances as well, then I want to like calibrate that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just wonder if there's something there, right? Like in individual societies, are people more comfortable generalizing, whereas in collective societies, they feel more triggered by the generalization because they want to be able to express more individuality and they don't like being seen. Because in America, there's always this fundamental understanding, right? Everyone is a unique individual, and your generalization is just that. Like, we know that there are exceptions to everything. Whereas I think in Korea, some of the commenters we'll probably talk about later this afternoon, they get so triggered when like what we say doesn't jive with what they think. And Americans, again, but in my defense, it's almost like you already set this as a fact, and you're trying to get my agreement. And if I say no, you're like, can't we just that's
generalize?
So interesting that you say that. Every time I say some generalization about Korean culture, it's coming from a place of these are my observations. I am looking for you to either accept that's probably true.
Yeah.
But you always qualify like you're not willing to say that. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong with my observations. But then I go back and talk to other people, watch dramas. It's like, oh, like these are where my generalizations are coming from.
But you're watching dramas. It's depicting. It's also exaggerating a part of society.
Which I fully agree, right? Like just like you said, most Koreans' understanding of American culture is through American dramas, like Friends, right?
Yeah.
that's not reality.
Yeah.
And so I think my goal is always to try to like, okay, this is true, but I feel like you always start with just the but. You don't say this is true, but you're like, no, but.
No, I already said that there is a tendency like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Maybe I didn't hear it.
We didn't get into dating.
Back to dating?
Nelson's like, what did I walk into today? Yeah. No, we don't have to talk about dating. I think it's, obviously this is like 10 episodes we could do on dating.
Yeah.
But I just thought
Maybe,
some of the
maybe you
stuff...
should have a Korean girl for the dating part.
I just thought some of the stuff you were saying was very interesting to me. It's like, I do think it's quite different, and it flags something that's really... Again, I so much appreciate the practicality with which Korean culture approaches relationships, marriage, dating. Again, it probably would feel really awkward for me to be so utilitarian, methodical, formulaic, right? But there are really nice things about it. Like both sides are very, very clear. And, there's never, let's say, like misaligned expectations. In America, the barrier to entry of dating is so low. You don't expect it to go anywhere most of the time. So when it doesn't work out, it's not that big of a deal. It's more, let's say, length of duration of dating. Whereas I think, and anyway,
I think that's very interesting because there are very different phases of dating in Korea versus the US. Because like casual dating is
like a sum?
Yeah, a sum is like a very temporary phase in Korea, and then very quickly they get into like a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the US, I never dated in the US, but like there's a very long period of like just dating.
Yeah. When you go from just casual dating to like committed, we're not seeing other people.
Yeah,
that's like a big deal.
You know, like as a Korean, what's like the most like shocking and foreign thing that you experience in like by consuming American media is like the timing in which you say I love you.
Oh yeah.
Because in Korea, it's like immediately I love you, and then we're in a relationship. The some part, like the dating phase, is very temporary, right?
And it ends with I love you. That's the committed phase begins.
Yeah, like when you watch Friends, I'm so shocked that you're saying I love you now. I thought I thought they loved each other from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh,
that part is, I think, in a Korean mindset is very different. Yeah.
All right, Nelson, we've gone the whole episode so far. We have not mentioned exactly how big you are on Instagram. You're very popular on Instagram. My feed shows you everywhere. My wife's feeds, like it's And when I'm with you, even people recognize like, oh, like I see you on Instagram all the time. So why don't you tell us what you would like to share about your Instagram, your social media? I think especially the mission and purpose behind it. But how'd you get into it? What have you been surprised by? And what's the life like of a Instagram influencer in Korea?
Well, there's a lot of questions. Let's start with how I started. Year and a half, I think, ago. So I work for this app that teaches Korean to foreigners. Tida, download now, App Store. We were looking for influencers to promote our app. And the rates they were calling was like crazy, right? And I was like, oh man, I feel like I could do it myself. So that's how that was one of the reasons I got started. But as I was doing it, I got a lot of traction. And I think I just got lucky because of all the Korean wave. And I just happened to be in Korea, and it's something that resonated with people. But as I was making it, I saw that it could be a channel through which people I could serve as a bridge, that mission I had for life. Through humor and this stupid reels, I think people could get a nuanced view of Korean culture as well. And that's what I'm doing now. What are some other questions? Things that I was surprised by?
Yeah, was there any particular content that you were... I mean, first of all, are you surprised that you got so big?
Super surprised. I had no idea. I thought, I wasn't expecting this at all. And so I was very surprised.
Who are your general audience?
I think my biggest audience is in the US. I think people interested in Korean culture. So mostly foreigners, not Koreans. Yeah. And then some Koreans who lived abroad, I think, sometimes comment, but mostly US.
We have to tap into that demographic.
What are some of your, let's say, more... Does any of the stuff you posted stand out? Like, oh man, I'm surprised this was so liked, or Like, what?
Well,
Yeah.
the content I'm most proud of, I guess.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, because social media, there's like people's attention span is super short, right? There was a content that I posted teaching Hangul, which was like 7 minutes long on social media,
Yeah.
right? I just posted it because there's no way, right? That got like 20 million views.
Wow.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, like, I guess long form, quote unquote, long form content works on Instagram as well. So
Yeah.
that was surprising. That's like, I'm proud because I felt like I made an impact, right? People were able to learn Hangul
Totally.
through an easy story. And that's something I'm proud of. Like things that I've found very obvious, I think sometimes resonates with people. Like, oh, what? Like it's new for them.
Yeah.
And so it makes me reevaluate or like reframe my everyday life. Now I try to look at everything with a first timer's perspective, like a foreigner's perspective. And I think it kind of like helps me with my life too. Be thankful for little things because you take it for granted.
Yeah,
it's amazing how quickly you go from like, oh, this is amazing to like, oh, like you don't even see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like when I'm crossing Hangang and you look outside of the subway, it's like, bro, that's
So
crazy.
beautiful. It's so
that's
beautiful.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
wow. But then after a month, you're just like, you don't even look outside. Right? You're just on your phone, on your subway. So things like that, I think, have been helpful personally for me as well.
That's what I struggle with a lot because I'm coming up on year 4 in Korea. Not only for the podcast, but just life in general. It's like trying not to let June calls it the tourist lens.
Yeah.
Like, nothing bothers you when you're a tourist. You're like, it doesn't get to you. But if you've been living here 4 years and like, then you're again, it bothers you, right?
It starts sneaking up on you.
Yeah. So I feel like I want to maintain that.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on how to maintain that perspective? Because, most people just live in the same place their whole life.
Yeah.
And they're probably living that life where like every last thing, even if it's not a big deal, it gets to, they're so sick of their life. It's mundane, it's routine.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It might be counterintuitive, but I feel like traveling abroad helps you come back home with a renewed perspective. So from time to time, when you like travel abroad, you experience different things, you come home, like like reverse culture shock, but in a good way. I don't know. That could be a tip. Start an Instagram. When you have to think of content, you're like, oh, yeah. That can be helpful.
What, like, how, every time I look at your content and the way that you try to introduce a very interesting aspect of Korean culture, I'm like always very surprised about the things that you pick and like, oh, like, why didn't I realize that? That's so interesting. Like, is there any like criteria? Like, how do you like observe your environment and find out this thing is interesting?
I think some of it is just like me being a foreigner in Korea. It's just like not me trying, but like, oh, that is interesting. I see differences. Some of it, I think, I just put myself in my 5 year ago self and try to say, okay, that was interesting, but I lost sight of how interesting that was, kind of thing. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
I'm going to try to bring it home with this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's just who you are uniquely. Because I think a lot of people I know, they're like, oh, Nelson's just a content genius. And I think throughout your whole life, right, no matter what circumstance you're in, June said it too, like, we're impressed with how you always find the good, the positive, the unique, right? You never necessarily, I don't know, even traumatic experiences, you kind of brush off. And it's just like, it's a part of me. And I think that's what makes your content so compelling. But also, it's just kind of your life purpose, right? Like being a bridge, right? You even described your childhood when you didn't have any close friends as a blessing in hindsight, because it allowed you to like, move between circles and be kind of that outsider bringing people together. So it might just be a you thing, right?
Maybe, yeah. I feel like as a designer, you do that too, right? You try to see things in a different perspective, right? Like,
to a certain aspect, I think product design and like being an artist is kind of different. Like fundamentally, a designer and artist is kind of different. I think it does ask for more creativity, definitely. But I think especially like app design is more about like usability and like how people are used to doing something. So sometimes like thinking too much out of the box is like not a good thing.
Gotcha.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm going to share this quote from Mark Twain. I think it's very timely. He said, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And many of our people," I think talking about Americans, Mark Twain was American, right? Yeah. "Need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime." And, I find this very compelling because even though I didn't know about this quote, the reason I moved to Korea in the first place was so that my kids would have more perspective than I did. And I think, Nelson, I would say it's no accident that maybe you think the way you do.
Yeah.
Just look at your life journey. You've been all over. You've traveled and experienced so many different perspectives. I think naturally you have a higher level of, let's say, understanding, empathy, less narrow-mindedness than most people.
Yeah. Going back to your question of like what I want to do with social media or like what my mission is, I think that one of the biggest problems in our world right now, not only in Korea but everywhere, is like the polarization of society.
Yeah.
And it's not even that people have different opinions. I feel like that's good for society, democracy, but it's that they don't have a reason to talk about these things. It's so easy to find like-minded people.
Yeah.
And the way I see that manifesting in Korean society in particular is like, because of the declining birth rates, we're getting a lot of foreigners in Korea. But I think to a certain extent, Korean culture, historically being so homogenous, is not very ready or welcoming of foreigners. And I think it'd be cool to like bridge that gap somehow. I don't know exactly how, but for people to be able to understand each other a little better, even if they don't agree, having some points of contact and mutual ground where they can talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like your podcast is doing that. So that's why I like mad respect to you guys. I do like short, stupid reels, but you guys go on and like long form about these cultural differences. And I think getting at the nuances really help people see past their, own cultures. So.
No, thank you for saying that. But I really think you're achieving that mission. And yeah, that's why I was so excited when you agreed to come on the pod. I do feel like our content's very aligned in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming on and spending 2 hours of your life with us.
Oh, no. I had fun.
Yeah. Jun, anything else you wanted to get out?
I just wanted to do a very lighthearted one.
Okay.
Was it too
got a
deep?
little
Did we get
heavy.
too
Yeah,
heavy?
yeah, you gotta give us you gotta give us Brazilian restaurant recommendations in Korea.
Ooh. Oh man. Can we do another question? I feel like I might. Oh man, I might. Yeah. I don't.
Why? Because you've never been to one?
No, I've been to
you
a
hate
couple,
it?
but I can't recommend it in particular. Yeah.
I feel like I'm not surprised by that, right? Because like your bar for Brazilian food.
And also, I have people I know in Ichiros. I don't want to like.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
Can you do a different?
That was the only one.
Not really. A lighthearted one.
To be honest, I don't even know Brazilian food besides barbecue.
Churrascaria. So churrascaria is a big one, right?
That's all
They
you
have-
can eat meat, right?
Yeah.
That's the only one I know.
But when you go there, they have like feijoada, which is like this bean stew made of like leftover. So there's a history behind it. During slavery, like Brazilian slavery, the owners would throw out all these pieces that they wouldn't eat, right? Like ears and nose, like feet.
Yeah.
And the slaves would get that and make it into the stew. And now it became a Brazilian, like a staple food, like a traditional food.
It's like
So
a Brazilian 부대찌개.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
The connection there.
Never had it. Yeah.
'Cause they got the leftovers from the military.
Yeah.
Military stew. And then they have a lot of good food. A lot of cheap, good fruits and meat. Yeah.
Plantains? Do they eat plantains?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
More than like that's their main. Is that their main starch? Do they do rice also?
Rice and feijoada,
beans.
rice and beans is like their main
staple.
Yeah, rice, beans, and meat.
All right, Nelson. We asked this for all our guests. If you could import one thing into Korean culture, what would it be?
I feel like this probably has been said a lot, but greeting strangers, has that been said already?
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
the one thing I didn't realize I missed it until I went back to the States was like how you see a stranger in the street, you just smile, right?
Yeah,
That's the default.
yeah.
Or like good morning while jogging. In Korea, you do that, they'll call the cops. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing to lose. Like there's only things to be gained from these small talks or like little cordial like things. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm like too ethnocentric in my view of this, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I wish there would be more like strangers kindness in the world. What's your take on it, June? Because I'm curious.
I have another 30 minutes.
I think there's this very specific, what do you call it? Like, I don't know the word for it, but like when like is it like missionary?
Cults.
Yeah, like cults like approaching you on the streets,
right.
being like super friendly and high,
Suspicious.
and then it becomes like something else.
Yeah.
That culture is sort of like really accelerated this tendency.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, every time someone approaches me that way, I get to like a very defensive mode.
Yeah,
like,
what do they want?
Yeah, kind of.
That
I think
makes
that
sense.
kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
For me personally, even like my personal experience, when I was a freshman at college, so I came from Daegu, and it's like my first time living in Seoul, and like I wander around the college campus, and there's this one guy like approaching me like, "Oh, you're a freshman." And at the time, I was like very naive, like this 선배 tries to like help me because I'm from Daegu, and he's like telling me all these things, like I'll like help, kind of like semi helping me out, like settle in, kind of that, and like telling me all the things that you have to know to get around the campus and all that, and like very quickly, like he starts talking about like, oh, do you want to like join the church group or something, and like, oh, it was like that was what it was, kind of, and I think most Koreans experience this at least once in their lifetime.
Gotcha.
And then it kind of like ruined it.
Gotcha.
All right, on the flip side, Nelson, if you could export one thing from Korean culture, what would you want to export to the world? Or it can be a particular, like Brazil, US, whatever.
I'm trying really hard not to say Chong because
You can say it.
What have other people said?
how about
It's mostly very utilitarian.
Oh, at restaurants?
Yeah, like,
self-serve.
the drawers on the bottom
under
of
the table.
Yeah, for self-serve, right? Just to get your own utensils and stuff.
Oh yeah.
on the bottom of your
I
own
see.
tables. I feel like that's such a practical thing.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
country should have.
I love restaurant culture in Korea is awesome. Yeah, you just get up and pay when you're ready to go. Of course, no tipping. But you can like just get your own utensil, self-serve bar. So good. Okay.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we asked this question to all of our guests, and the thing that they want to import is very like a cultural thing. And they think that they want to export is a very utilitarian, practical thing.
But it makes sense. Yeah, of course it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's it for this episode. Do you want to do Patreons? We don't usually do Patreons on guests, but
we don't have to. We're gonna record another one. Yeah.
Oh, Nelson, any other plugs you want to make before we close? You follow me on Instagram, Sochar? No, really?
I mean, yeah. Well,
You already got too many followers.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's a flex, audience.
It's weird,
That's a flex. But yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
It was a really good conversation. Okay, that's it for this episode. Yeah. If you'd like to support us, consider sharing us with your friends. And otherwise, you can follow us on Patreon and support us there.
Right.
All right. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Closing sections.
Recite
Any
your-
other final thoughts or reflections? Blah, blah, blah. Blah.
Recite your college dissertation, Jun.
My college dissertation paper.
I'm just trying to think of something you can just talk about nonsensically, nonstop.
I pledge allegiance.
Oh my God. Do you remember? Okay. Do you remember the Pledge of Allegiance?
Kind of.
Let's see. Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
With liberty and justice for all. Okay.
yeah.
2 X marks, and your hand's not over your heart, so
I can't do it for the US.
you're like that would have been a B minus.